Hello, everyone, and welcome to Connect to Create. Today is Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. I'm Kathy Ondas with Simply Cards by Kathy, and I'm excited to show you the whitewash technique that you can use in your paper crafting and card making. Now, if you're catching us live or on the replay, or you're new to our channel, welcome. We are so happy to have you here with us. And Connect to Create is a collaboration between myself and another friend and Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Pat Fairless from Fairless Stamp and Flair. Each week we alternate to bring you a new technique that you can use in your paper crafting and card making. So today I have a lot to show you. So I'm going to flip that camera down and we're going to get started. Okay, I have you pretty close to my desktop because I have a lot to show you and I want you to be able to see it because some of it's kind of close-up work. So what is whitewashing? Well, it's putting all what it sounds, a whitewash on your cardstock with your images. And I'm going to show you what we need to do that. We're going to start off with a piece of neutral cardstock. I'm using Crumb Cake, and another card I'm going to show you, I used Smoky Slate, and in another one I used Navy. So works great with basic colors. And you're also going to need a white craft ink. Now I have my Whisper White craft pad. I also have my re-inker. You're going to need some white embossing powder, and the rest will come as we kind of move on with the technique. So let's go ahead. Now, one of the things we want to use is a large image. You want an open image that you can color. I am using the large image from Cottage Rose, and I'm using a really large image because there's a couple ways to do this, and I want to be able to show you that. So I'm going to bring in my craft pad. I've re-inked it. Now, if you're not familiar with the Whisper White, it's a very thick ink. So you want to, you want to be able to clean your supplies off, and it cleans just as you would any other ink. You can use your chamois, you can use your spray Stamp and Mist, or you can use the little scrubber pad. So we're going to ink this up, and I think I'm going to flip it over to do that because I'm going to get better coverage. It's a large stamp. And before I even do that, I'm going to let that sit there. I want to use my embossing buddy because we are going to be using the embossing powder. Now, the embossing buddy, it's in our mini catalog, the January to April. And what it does is it removes the static and oil from the papers that get on there. Once you do clean it, you don't want to go touching your paper because you don't want to take get the oils back on it. And it keeps the embossing powder from sticking to areas on the paper that you don't want it to stick to. So I'm going to move this over a little bit, and we're just going to go ahead and let's give it a good press down. And I'm just going to press it and hold it there because I want that ink to transfer. And we are using this ink for our embossing powder. Now, you can use Versamark. And one of the cards that I'll show you, I did. But I like using the craft white for this technique because it, I think I get a brighter white and a little bit bolder look to it. I'm going to bring in my tray. I love this tray. And I'm just going to take my white embossing powder and I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle it over my stamped image. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick this up and tap it off. And you can see I have really good coverage and I don't have any extra around the area. So I'm going to set this off to the side and close up my craft pad. And I'm going to bring in my heat tool to set this. Now it's going to be noisy for a minute. Now your heat tool, you have two settings. Number one is to use on vellum, or if you're trying to use it to dry something quicker. Number two setting is to set your embossing powders. So I'm going to let it heat up for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and bring it in. And I hold it about 5 to 6 inches above the paper, and I keep it there until I see the embossing powder set. And that will turn from a powder look to a shiny look. And I'm going to raise it up a little bit so hopefully you can see that setting. And I just follow it around. I don't go back and forth over it. And when you heat set your embossing powder, you want to make sure that you don't overheat it, because if you overheat it, it'll flatten. You can also lose the luster or the shine to it, and you can burn your paper. So I'm just following this around, and we're just about done. I see an area here that isn't shiny, so I'm going to go back over that area. Okay, so here's our image. So now what do? Well, now we're going to add a whitewash. Now there's two ways that you can do this. You can do your whitewash first and then apply your color, or you can apply the color and then the whitewash. So I'm going to kind of split that flower in half and show you both ways. So first I'm going to take a block. You use a block, and I'm going to pick up or drop down, a drop or two of my white ink. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to bring in my water painter and go ahead and add a drop or two of water. And I'm going to spread this out. Now, however thick or white you want your whitewash, you can adjust it. I like mine a little bit thinner so that it truly looks like a whitewash. And we're going to go ahead, and on this side, I'm going to spread the whitewash out. So you're just gonna, and you can wipe some off if it's too much for you. Just gonna go ahead, and the white embossed edges kind of keep you within the image. I'm gonna go ahead and just cover my image with the wash. And pick up a little more. I tend to wipe off a little bit. Again, I like that thinner look. And I'm going to go ahead with these and color in. So you just move your way around your image. Now this is laying down the whitewash first. Okay, let's get this last one, and we're going to go ahead and finish up this side of the card. Now you want to let this dry, and normally I just let it air dry, and then I come back and I lay down my color. But for video's sake and for your time, I'm going to put this on low, and I'm just going to lightly hit it with my heat gun to set that white ink. And I think we're pretty good. Now I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. Now to lay down your color, you can do it either using using a watercolor or water painter, or you can use a blender pen. Now, if you have a dry blender pen, that works great too. If you have one that's dried out, don't throw it away. Save it for this technique. This happens to be a new one. I only use this for my, I took a new one out. I only use it for whitewashing because of the thick white ink. And to mark it, so that I don't use it for anything, I just take a piece of tape and wrap it around, and I know it's for whitewashing. So we're going to use Flirty Flamingo stamp pad, and we're going to put this here. I'm going to move the white out, and then we're going to use Old Olive for our green. So what I'm going to do is pick up the color from my ink pad. Just give it a good press. There's my Old Olive. I'm going to bring in this one and give a good press to my Flirty Flamingo. And let's close this up. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. So I'm going to use my watercolor brush, and I'm just going to squeeze some water on there. Now, for some reason, it's not coming out, so I did have a little palette here with water in it, and I'm just going to go ahead and mix some of this up. Again, we're going to wash our color on the whitewash. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start here. I want to see how dark. I don't want it too dark. And I'm just going to go ahead and wash or color in my flower using my water painter with the ink from my ink pad. And you can see it's almost gives you like a vellum or a linen look. It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead in and we're going to do that. I'm going to come up here and color this one in. Okay, so that's one way to apply your color. Let's finish this petal up. And then I'm going to show you how to use it with the blender pen. You do the same thing. You bring in your ink, you bring in the tip of your blender pen, and I'm going to pick up my color, and I'm going to just start coloring. Now, you're going to get a different look depending on whether you use the blender pen or whether you use the watercolor painter. And you're going to be able to see that here in just a minute. So I'm going to bring that in, and let's do this. Your color is almost a little bit maybe darker with my blender pen, but you just keep applying your color. Okay, so we're there. And then you take your blender pen and you just want to wipe it off. Until it's clean. We're going to go to the other side though, just for the sake of time with you. And I'm going to clean off my brush. Now I'm going to go in and bring in my green and do the same thing. Kind of spread that ink out. I want a lighter color, and now I'm going to come in, and I still want it even lighter. Okay, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to paint my leaves. I'm trying not to get my head in the camera, so forgive me if I do. So there's that. So I'm going to pick this up and let you see. It's almost like a vellum look or just a fine, thin look, whitewashed look. So that is one way to do the whitewash. The second way is to come in with a color medium. You could use your blending pencils. You can, or watercolor pencils. I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends, and I have Flirty Flamingo here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and color my leaves. And yes, it does cover some of the white. And I'll show you what you can do for that. We're just going to come in here, and I'm going to not do the whole thing, but I am going to do several of them so that you can see that look. Just follow it through. And you can see my white from my embossed heat embossing is showing through. You are going to see a little bit of a different look from using the blending pens first versus the whitewash first. And then I would like you to leave us a comment. Let me know which one you like best. So there's my Flirty Flamingo. I used the dark. Now I'm going to come in with my Old Olive, and I'm using the dark. I'm going to finish up the leaves here, and then we're going to whitewash the other side of the card so that you can see the difference of whether you color first or you whitewash first. Just about done. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow in here for the stamen of the flower. You can leave it white. Okay, now your alcohol markers dry quickly, so we're ready to whitewash. If you're worried about them drying, give it a minute or two and let it dry. I'm coming back in with my water painter. Going to again spread this out. It's sat for a little bit, so it's kind of thickened up. I'm just going to move that all out of the way, some of that white off, and I'm going to start painting. And I'm just going to work my way around the card. And you can see with the markers, with our Stampin' Blends rather, you get a little bit deeper color. And the whitewash is on top, where the color for the other side was on top. So you'll be able to see a little bit of a difference in the two. I actually like both. Now, if you want, on the side that we did first, where I laid down my whitewash first and then did the color, you can go back over that and add some color to add some depth to your image if you would like. Let's go in here and get our leaves, and we're done. And then I'm going to show you 4 cards that I used with this technique. So let me get this all out of the way here so I can show you what we've done. And here is our image. So you can see there is a little darker here. Now, if I wanted to come in here with my water painter and add some more color, I definitely could do that. I cleaned my brush off, and let's bring our Flirty Flamingo back in. And I can come back in and just add some increased color to that flower, and it'll pick it up. And it just gives it a little bit more depth. And I'm kind of going where the accent marks are from the stamp. I love coloring, so this is a great technique. So you can see just a little bit. Let me bring it closer to you. Oh, bring it down so you can see that whitewashed image. So, and you can see the difference in whether you apply your color first or your whitewash first. So let me set this aside and show you the cards. So the first card I did, I used Cottage Rose with the Abigail Rose paper. And I simply did a whitewash card. That was all. I wanted that look. Um, so let's set that up there. For the second card, I used the same image, but I went in and I painted it afterwards, just like you saw me do on the first half of the card. And again, that's the Abigail Rose. For my third card, I used Irresistible Blooms. I used Smoky Slate as my cardstock. I stayed with the Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight. And I whitewashed and then painted my leaves. So there's a whole different look to that. My fourth card, and normally we don't show you four, but I tried it then using Nature's Harvest. And here I stamped. I used my markers, and then I whitewashed over the Stampin' Blends. So there's another one. And then one that I did just to show you but didn't put into a card, I used Night of Navy. And again, I laid down the whitewash first and then added the color for this one. And with this, I actually used my blender pen. So many ways you can do the whitewash technique, and you may discover some of your own. So let me bring you back to me for a minute. And I hope you enjoyed the technique. Experiment with it. I can't wait to try it in some other ways in which to use it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. It helps us grow our channel. And feel free to share the video. We love helping other people learn new techniques that they can use in their paper crafting and card making. I hope you have a great weekend. Pat will be back with you next Thursday with a surprise. And we will see you in a week. You have a great weekend, everybody, and enjoy.